Looks like we are live on YouTube. Look at us.
Let's go.
Fourth episode. And we are got a guest. Beautiful. We don't have to crunch into just one little space like Al and I. And
Love it.
now streaming on platforms. Man, look at us.
Moving up in
Great.
the world.
Moving up. All right. I'll stop the music then. And all right, guys. Well, this is the fourth edition of The Climb. And my guest needs no introduction, but I will do it anyway. He is a board member of Team Garbo. He's the head coach of the Lafayette Leopards and volleyball coach. And he's a dear best friend of mine. And Christian Kiselica is here, and I'll give him a nice round of applause myself.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, AJ.
People. And this week I wanted to talk about routine and specifically habits. And some people may not know this, but Christian and I have a call scheduled at 7:45 every single Monday. And we started that as a routine when I got out of the hospital for the third time back in 2020. And the reason for it was I was going through support groups, and I found them to be so great, just in general, having camaraderie and talking with people, and linking it back to that core friend group. The reason why I made Team Garbo is I had these great people flock to my side and help in need, and Christian was one of them. And we came up with the idea of like, hey, why don't we just make this support? And I believe we called it the accountability call. And it
Yeah.
started then, and it has turned into a fantastic routine where we talk every single Monday. So briefly, I'll let Christian, share his thoughts on our month, I guess it's weekly call that we do and have been doing for years now.
Yeah. Well, it's something I look forward to every single week. I think I'm the kind of person that I really need to surround myself with hardworking, driven people that are gonna hold me accountable, keep me motivated, keep me excited. And you're just one of those people that I know is always going to be on, right? And you're always going to tell me the truth. And to make that part of our routine has not only been really helpful for me, but it's just been so special for our relationship because we've just only gotten so close because of that. So I think anyone that's listening should really think about who is the person in their life that can hold them accountable, right? When you need it the most, and someone you can vent to, and to have it scheduled, I didn't realize how beneficial that it would be. Oh, something happened this last week. Well, I know I get to talk to AJ about it. I'm struggling getting in the gym this week. Well, let me talk to AJ about it. It's really special. And I think that to have a friendship where we can have check-ins and also be really real with each other about the things that we want to do better. I think it's just been incredibly important and super beneficial for me. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it is definitely one of those things that I look forward to every week. And it is like can't miss TV. It's I actually had it on my calendar for years. And never moved it. And I think the purpose that we started with was really trying to be accountable with our health, and we talked about certain routines. And I know I've bounced 1,000 routines off Christian, but
Yeah.
those routines, personally, it is my go-to. It is really this baseline that I have of a foundation where I can go to a certain routine or make a certain routine and share that with Christian. And the next week we can talk about that and be accountable and share about it and be like, hey, that didn't work. And I remember one time sharing instead of doing things of activities that I needed to get done, like to-do list, I wrote on my calendar like leisure activities, like go to
Oh
the
yeah.
park and play video games. And I shared that with Christian, and it was interesting. I didn't end up doing it very long, but that bouncing it off someone is, like we talked about with Al, it's really important outside your family to find someone that you can, bounce ideas off of. And for instance, we're two people that have been directly impacted by mental health, indirectly impacted. And, Christian's in a profession where he's coaching many athletes and impacting lives and stuff. So, I want to ask, just in general, because I could go on for days how my routines have turned into habits, and I will post an article as a blog of, really helpful sharing why routines are great. But I wanted to turn it over to you, Christian. As a collegiate Division I head coach, and all the work you've done with athletes, with camps, and you even had to has spoken about mental health too. I mean, what have you seen in general with athletes, mental health, routine, habits? What's your boots on the ground with young people, and why don't you share with us what you're seeing on your end?
Yeah, I mean, I think for starters, like as a coach, there's so many things thrown at me, right? Like I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, especially when I'm in season. And so for me personally, having routine is really important. And for you and I, like as people that have ADHD, it's even more important because if we don't have routine, we're going to forget super easily. And so I think that's where,
I find it to be like it's like you have your clothes off, going streaking or something, not having a routine, having ADHD. It's like, need to be regimented so I keep
yeah,
this noggin on straight.
yeah,
So yeah, we definitely can relate to that.
yeah. And I think like that's where I've been able to really help my athletes is helping them find routine. Honestly, like the best athletes, the most successful ones I've met have routine, right? They wake up at a certain time, they eat breakfast every day. They know they have practice at this time, they know they have study time at a certain time, and they get the extra reps in. And I think those are the people that end up getting their dream jobs, right? Like I talk to my team all the time about, you're here to play volleyball, but the ultimate goal is for you to go on and get your dream job. And how can I help you achieve that? And how can we build career skills too? And I think routine is just a big part of that because if you don't have it, you're not going to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And if you're not disciplined, you're not going to play well in volleyball. You're not going to do good in the classroom, and therefore, your life could fall apart. And so I talked to them about my struggles with all this stuff. And a few years ago, I was somebody that that didn't have routine, and I got frustrated so easily because I was that kind of person that would do like the New Year's resolution guy. Like I would be like, all right, this week I'm doing 5 workouts this week. I'm going to eat 3 healthy meals. I'm going to sleep at this time. I'm going to wake up and do yoga, and you just throw so much on your plate at once. It's
And you crush
impossible.
it for how many days?
Yeah. Yeah. You're good for 7 to 10 days. And then you crash. And then you get pissed off at yourself because you're like, why aren't I disciplined enough? Why can't I do this? And it's just not realistic, right? Maybe for 1%. I mean, I don't really know the stat, but maybe for 1% of the population, right? They talk about how many people leave the gym after a month, right? After New Year's, right? And so what I've found that's just been really helpful for me is just tiny little things, right? Like I want to start meditating regularly. I used to be like, all right, I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes every day, right? Like that's too long. Like 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes is all you need to start building a habit. And I think there's something that all of us want to do, and we can find 2 minutes in our day, every single day, to do that, to do whatever that thing is. And I think just really taking tiny steps is the best way, and honestly the most healthy way, because you can start to really establish those things in your routine and build better healthy habits because of it.
Yeah, you said a lot of good things in there, and just on habits in general. And I can blog this out too, but James Clear has a book called Atomic Habits, and what Christian's saying with the meditation, everyone, of course, everyone wants to meditate for 10 minutes. That's what's recommended, and that's what you're going to feel great at. But try doing it right away, and you'll get what I call is the Sean Hunter's disease. Sean Hunter was a famous actor on the Boy Meets World, and he was what reason I call it the Sean Hunter disease, because Sean Hunter, he went out with many of his high school women, and he would only date them for 2 weeks. And so if someone picks up a habit and they drop it in 2 weeks, all I could think of is the Sean Hunter. You pick up something, you drop it. And if my wife is watching this, I hope she doesn't mind, but I used to call her out like, hey, you're just Sean Hunter. You're just picking something up and dropping it after 2 weeks. Now she's really focused on routine in the past year and a half, and I can't say it anymore, so I'm glad I can mention it in passing here. But that book, Atomic Habits, it talks about small actions that will go a long way. And if you put an ice cube on a table and you stare at it, it may not melt in a split second, but each second that goes by, little water keeps filling out, and then suddenly it turns into a puddle. And it's about not really breaking that chain and having a realistic goal. Like Christian said, I want to 2 seconds meditate. All right, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and just build on top of that. Now, I love how you shared everything about the athletes. I mean, being a collegiate athlete, to be honest, to be successful just in general as a student athlete, to not have a routine, God bless you, not me. Yeah. I was up at like 4 before spring practices, and in the training room at 5, practice at 6, and then I had a class at 8 o'clock. So it certainly takes a different person. But let's just say if one of your students came to you, or your student athletes came to you and asked you for like one word of advice when it came to forming a habit or drilling in a good routine, what would you say to them?
Honestly, like I would tell them to come in my office and do it with me. Like I'll be the one to hold you accountable, and I think that kind of brings this full circle of like,
except for 7:45 on Mondays. That's my
but yeah, no, like I'll hold you accountable, right? Come to my office every day at this time, and we'll do it. I'll do it with you. Find somebody that will help make it fun, make it enjoyable, because you don't want things to feel like a chore. As soon as they feel like a chore, you're going to stop doing them. So I think just finding that person that, your workout buddy, your hiking partner, whatever you want to call it, like find that person that's going to really help you. And I think like on top of that, the biggest thing that I try to hit home with people is to conquer the morning. When you conquer the morning, the rest of your day is so much easier, because you get 2 or 3 things done in the morning, the rest of your day you're going to be way less anxious, right? Because you're starting your day feeling accomplished. And I think like that is just such a battle that it's hard to overcome. But as soon as you start waking up earlier and earlier, and again, going back to building small habits, wake up 15 minutes earlier tomorrow, not 2 hours. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, wake up and breathe for a minute, right? Like that's very simple. And I think we live in a very complex world, and instead of trying to, be part of that complexity, like make your life simple.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think we can go another 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes on morning routines, because I love that.
Yeah.
But what you said really brought it full circle, that accountability, and, specifically how we started this live stream right now is talking about our accountability call. And it's at no surprise that Christian's a huge part of Team Garbo. And, there's a reason our motto is, when roots are deep, there's no reason to fear the wind. And that's why I challenge everyone, if you don't have a support system, please join ours. Or it's not that hard to just reach out to one person. There's a key common, element that Christian's saying right now is, find one person that can keep you accountable. But that same person, like Christian and I have built, can be there for your mental health. And I think that's a good place to wrap, unless you had anything else, Christian. I know we're going to have you on a lot more and dive more into those conversations.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. This is awesome. If anyone's struggling out there, reach out to us. We're happy to help. Come and support Lafayette volleyball. We're going to have a really strong season. And just love doing this stuff. Keep supporting one another. And love you, AJ. You're a brother to me. And excited for next Monday.
Absolutely. Love you too, and go Lady Leopards. All right, guys. Thanks for joining.